InvestKL Conversations, brought to you by BFM in collaboration with InvestKL.
I'm here today with Jack Cummiskey, the Vice President and Regional Manager for Southeast Asia for the construction firm Turner International. Jack, a very warm welcome to you to the InvestKL Conversations. A lot of construction is going on in this part of the world, specifically Malaysia. What kinds of ingredients has this city, Kuala Lumpur, offered in terms of making your business a success in this part of the world?
Well, all of that construction that you mentioned, the scope of the projects that are being undertaken is breathtaking. And for Turner, Southeast Asia, including Malaysia, in particular Malaysia, offers opportunities for our business that are very hard to find anywhere else in the world.
Jack, KL is building, as you quite rightly point out, on an unprecedented scale. Is this region, is this city building on a scale beyond which any other ASEAN city is building, do you think?
Well, it's certainly at least equal with the busiest markets in this region. We're also in Jakarta, where there's an amazing amount of development underway. And we expect to expand into the Philippines, where we also see, again, quite comparable activity, although each market offers some nuances in the type of projects going on.
That's right, because as we all know, ASEAN and Asia is really the boom region of the 21st century. So most cities around this geography are building on unprecedented scales. What specific attributes does KL bring to the table for you to consider setting up regional headquarters in this region?
Well, where we fit best is where we find projects that are complex and often pioneering in their challenges. In Kuala Lumpur, we're involved with two projects which will have two of the tallest buildings in the world, taller than the Twin Towers. So I think our experience and portfolio matches up well, and clients seek us out for that experience. I think it's a safety net to a certain degree in undertaking these developments.
Or forging new ground is nothing new to KL. We had the Petronas Twin Towers not that many years ago. What kinds of complexities do you see in this upcoming project to lend your expertise to?
Well, it's multifaceted. It's interesting. The Twin Towers, there were a number of specialty consultants, particularly around life safety, certainly structural and facade. And many of those people specifically, that was the first project of its type for them. Many of those same professionals are engaged with us now in these other projects. So there's been, decades of learning. Buildings are very complex now. And while the construction world looks kind of rough and tumble, the reality is that technology involved in designing these buildings and building it and then running them is quite exotic. And having that done well, being integrated and helping our clients get the full benefit of that technology is a challenge that requires a huge set of resources to all come together.
Jack, yours is a firm which is a project management firm essentially, and you run projects on behalf of your clients. In human capital terms, how does KL and indeed Malaysia lend itself to the necessity for highly skilled and highly experienced people in your organization?
Well, it's a blend of people that we can bring here, who bring experience on projects that we're undertaking here that haven't been undertaken before. So naturally, that experience has to be essentially imported. But also, our business model requires and, in fact, depends on being able to develop a local staff. And I expect the face of Turner in Malaysia in 5 years will be very much Malaysian rather than people like me. That's been our experience in Vietnam. It is a huge challenge in Malaysia and in KL specifically, because there's so much activity. The people we're looking for, everyone else is looking for too.
In skill terms and in terms of the pipeline for new talent, Jack, how does the pipeline look for talent in order to fill this burgeoning order book that we assume you must be enjoying?
Yeah, I think it's very competitive. One of the challenges we have, would say, is that Turner may not be as well known to emerging professionals, both folks coming out of school and young professionals early in their career are probably much more easily able to look at the large civil engineering projects going on, the MRT, and if you're a civil engineer, for instance, that's probably the place that you could find the most opportunities. But we are attracting a wide variety of professionals, whether they're architects or coming out of the construction trades or engineering in any of the disciplines. They usually all find a place with us.
Beyond the typical human capital issues, Jack, what other attributes does KL bring to the table when you formulated your decision to set up in the city as opposed to somewhere else in ASEAN?
Well, it's for our headquarters, we found it to be the most business-friendly area. Introduction to InvestKL was really pivotal in persuading ourselves that whatever hurdles there are in any business enterprise, we had a partner who was going to help us understand what they were and, help us prioritize where our efforts and energy should be. That's not an experience that we've found in the other countries in the region.
That's an interesting idea because most other cities around the world, if not the region, have investment agencies to lubricate the process. How was InvestKL able to differentiate itself from other agencies?
Well, they found us and they paid attention to us and they responded. In some ways, Turner's not that big a company, and InvestKL has always treated us as if we were one of their top clients, and that was recognized not just by me interacting day to day, but by the leadership of the company in New York, that this was an area that was going to be friendly from a business standpoint, certainly a wonderful place to live, and an easy place to bring our professional staff from around the world to relocate here with children or without, families and otherwise. And we expect and hope that we'll develop a really high caliber local presence as well.
Well, clearly then that human touch, that personal touch was very important to you guys when you made that decision. Ultimately then, how easy a decision was it to be made to plump for KL as opposed to some other city in the region?
Well, it was easy because I liked it here. And so no one was making any arguments against it. And we actually moved our regional headquarters from Ho Chi Minh City to KL this time last year or shortly after that. And it really reflects where we see both a combination of a supportive environment and also one of the largest hubs of our activity. We have 6 major projects in Kuala Lumpur today. I hope we have 12 a year from now. But we feel quite confident that if we were to expand at that scale, we would be able to do it easier here than we would in other parts of the region.
Jack, Asia is only just getting started. It's a continent in transition from emerging to developed.
Mm-hmm.
How do you view KL and your position in KL as the ability to springboard into the region to do more sexy stuff, more funky stuff in the 21st century?
Well, I haven't heard anyone describe what we do as sexy and funky, but I'd like it.
Well, we like to think so.
Yeah. Well, there's some pretty simple things like face-to-face still matters. And from KL, it's easy for me and for my leaders, my executive team, to get anywhere in the region, for a day trip even. And that's not true in many other areas. Malaysian Airlines, as difficult a time as they're having, is still an incredible resource. Their network matters to us. It makes it easy for us to get anywhere in the region and to do it quite economically. So that's a big deal.
Well, nonetheless, Jack, KL is not perfect yet. What elements would you like to see more? What additional elements would you like to see more in KL to be infused in the years ahead?
Well, as a project manager, one of the important things is to have clarity on the path ahead. And in KL, one of the very good things is that we have regulatory environment that's quite understandable. If I compare it to New York, the codes, the regulations, the process, that you get the entitlements to build projects of the scale that we're doing. It consumes a large amount of energy through the early parts of the project. And in Kuala Lumpur, it's actually quite a mature process, but it's never simple enough and it's never clear enough. So I think as the city and the government and the infrastructure is developed to support and enable these large developments, I think we'll see an evolution of the regulatory process that will assist in that. It's on the investment side, that's one of the things that investors look at is how reliably will the pre-construction design and permitting process go? Is that a big barrier to the project's success?
We were talking to Jack Cummiskey, Vice President and Regional Manager for Southeast Asia for the project management firm in the construction industry, Turner International. These are the InvestKL Conversations.
InvestKL Conversations, brought to you by BFM in collaboration with InvestKL. Greater KL, the regional headquarters for MNCs in Asia. For more information on how InvestKL can help your business, visit www.investkl.gov.my.